Bordeaux dropped his full Nebraska rebuild for College Football 25, so let's break it down and react to it. Y'all like this style of content, make sure to subscribe, drop a like. Also check out my Twitch. This is where I stream this live, this breakdown, and then I'm over here pitting it on YouTube. So make sure to check out my Twitch and also subscribe. And appreciate the support I've been getting these past few weeks, man. Been great, really appreciate it. But let's get into the video.
I'm rebuilding Nebraska in College Football 25, and I'm not stopping until we win a national championship. But first, thank you to EA for allowing me to capture this early access footage. And I'm so pumped to start my first ever rebuild in College Football 25. The Kentucky one will be coming soon, but first I am starting with Nebraska. I'm gonna make myself a head coach, and I'll be taking over for what should be Matt Rule. So I'll just edit this guy, and I already love that I can see so much school history on the screen. Nebraska needs me. I'm going until I can win a championship. But keep in mind, everything you see is on a work in progress build. The first thing I have to do is just go ahead and edit my coach, where believe it or not, there are over 500 heads to choose from, but I'm gonna go with the one that looks very similar to me. I think if we're gonna rock with one of these two outfits, it's gotta be the sweater. And I would use my own last name, but it is considered as profanity. At the end of the day, I'm rolling with James Board, and coach abilities wise, I'm kind of curious some of the bonuses that I get. It looks like we have no bonuses for quarterbacks, but at least defensive linemen we can put more hours on with tier 3. And stuff in this program builder tier is supposed to be pretty powerful from the start, but Nebraska's head coach is gonna have it. I'm gonna do my best to teach you all recruiting and coach upgrades throughout this video, and from what I've seen so far, I think the combination of the recruiting tree and the tactician tree are the two you want to go down, because this tree boosts how much your players improve in certain stats. I have to start fixing Nebraska though, because we obviously are not going to be in the preseason top 25, and our projection in this new Big Ten is that we're finishing as the 4th worst team. We do have some bright spots though, like freshman quarterback Dylan Raiola, and he was a 5-star quarterback, so he's going to have stats like 96 throw power. I really wanted to use him because of some of these abilities like the dot one. And before I start recruiting, I'm just going to throw some red shirts on a couple of players. Our schedule should automatically customize to what Nebraska would play in real life as well, with the FCS schools giving a nod to a bunch of different custom YouTuber teams like the UGF Pandas. And we're going to face them, but at least with some of these school grades, we're in a good spot. It is about time I build out my first recruiting board in this game, and I have some tips that I'm going to drop throughout this entire thing, with my first one being hit triangle to go to advanced search, and then only go after players that you're starting in the top 5 of. Since I'm starting with Nebraska, I have almost 1,000 recruiting hours available, so I'm going to add almost 20 players to my board until I have to start getting some more. And I'm going to try to make Connor Crisp the first 5-star that I ever sign in this game. The first thing you want to do with a recruit is offer them a scholarship, and then also go through their scouting process, which if you don't have any upgrades should be 5 clicks per position, and I'm just going to automatically do that for every player. When you get to the end of it and you do that last one, sometimes you'll get an animation like that, and if you see a red gem like that, that means that player's a bust. If he's starting as like a 4-star recruit, that probably drops him down to about a 3-star caliber, so that's when I'd go ahead, hold down triangle, and remove him from my board. I'll continue to do this process until I found all the players I want. We just got our first gem, and because he's a 4-star, you could say that he's probably a 5-star talent because of that. Scouting in this game is a little bit different, because you never know what a player's true overall.
I think my fear is scouting seemed a little bit easy. I hope it's not, but definitely have a slight fear that it's easy.
Is, but I do know that this wide receiver has stuff like 93 speed, so I want him. And that's even though we don't have a team need at that position. We somehow need 2 quarterbacks, but I guess that's because they want 5 on the roster, and you can see our targets on the right side along with the guys that we already have. Before we advance the week, we can also see that Travis Hunter is in the preseason running for the Heisman Trophy, and it looks like we already have one player that wants to transfer out because he's not getting enough playing time. I decided I wanted to redshirt Chris Stewart, but he's the 3rd best tight end on our board, and he's probably gone because I'm not going to put him on the field. If I wanted to make sure that he didn't transfer, all I'd have to do is play him more, but I don't think we'd miss him, and I'm just going to look for a tight end that might be able to replace him. If this guy from Kentucky doesn't pan out, that might have to be...
Hey, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here, man. We'll get some people in here that want to play for the program, man. I fuck with that. I like that.
A transfer portal thing. And in week 0, whenever you can start to put some of these recruiting actions into players, I like to just send the house on my top 12 prospects. The goal is to learn more about the
send the house seems to be the meta. That seems to be the meta, especially for the top recruits you want.
player on the right side of the screen until we can eventually do this hard sell, but if you're a smaller school, you might only have like 400 hours to spend a week. And once you set these actions for these players, it'll save like that until you remove it, so it could be there for 4 or 5 weeks. To remove it, all you do is hold down triangle. But I have to spend my final 15 hours, so I'm going to search this guy's social media and also send him a nice little DM. I think we're ready to start our first season, and starting as an 84 overall isn't that bad. I have to see all the presentation, so of course I had to hop into this game, and we better not lose to the Miners. Nebraska Nebraska fans, I hope you enjoy how this place looks. I'm going to try to get a kick return from the start, and I just love how the presentation looks in this game. As deep as Dynasty is, I would argue that the gameplay is by far my favorite thing still, and I'm hoping to get Dylan Raiola his first touchdown pass right here, which we do. By the end of the game, we'd have a 34-point lead, and I'm playing on All-American, so it's not like I'm on an easy difficulty, but it gives me hope for using the Cornhuskers. I think our freshman quarterback's going to develop very well, and I've noticed with the top 2 players on our board, we're actually getting beat out by LSU and then Iowa for the 5-star I really want. Now, what's cool is because I have the coachability for defensive linemen always be Cruton, I can put more than 50 hours into this player, so we're also going to DM him every week and also make sure that we search his social media. What I like to check every single week as well is that right side of the screen. Once you have 3 check marks in one of those categories, that's when you go in and start doing these hard sells. You also have to be in their top 5. And you're about to see that come into effect because after we advance the week, we have some players that are in the top 5 stage. As for our school grades update, we just improved off of a win, so the only player that still wants to transfer is this tight end, and we're going to have a huge game against Colorado. But before we can play this, I'm hoping that we can put some players on a visit. So just to give you all my process, every week I started out by scrolling through this overview page.
They lower Colorado overall? They was 87, I thought.
Just to see that we're at least competing with all the other schools for some of these players, and we either have a lead or we're getting more points. But now what we're going to do is keep an eye on these players in the top 5 stage, because once all those things on the right panel are filled out, we'll know a player's 3 main motivations, and that's when you go in with the hard sell and find the combination that has all 3 of them involved. Since we don't know all 3 motivations right now though, this is when you'd use something like the soft sell, and then after using these things to max out the recruiting hours, we're going to schedule a visit, and I guess we can only do it against Illinois. You only select one of their interest for this, so I'm going to find the one that has the highest grade with a check mark on the left side. And as you can see, the family's visiting for that game while we also have all of these pitches going with the soft sell. With all that out of the way, now it's rivalry time. And I don't know how many games I'm going to hop into in a rebuild per season, but I want to do at least a few. This is a night game, and they even have the score from the previous meeting, so the pressure is on Dylan Raiola, and I made the wrong read. We're facing off against Travis Hunter, but outside of him, I don't know how great this defense is. And evidently pretty well, because with about 2.5 minutes left, we have a 7-point lead, which means a stop on 4th and 4 would be massive, and we did get it. Our offense hasn't had a great day, but it has done enough just to have a lead over the Buffaloes, and there we go, making it 3rd and 1 where all we need is 1 first down. This should seal our win, assuming we can pick it up, and I love running to the outside. The field's so wide, but they somehow knocked us out of bounds, and we can't do a thing. On 3rd and 8, I think we have to throw for it, and that comeback route didn't get open, so I'm hoping the home field advantage can confuse Shadur Sanders, and he throws an interception right to us. We just need to go down because we have the win. Nebraska is now 2-0 to start the season, and I didn't expect the freshman to do this well. He's played in 2 games and won 2 player of the games, so that's really good, and a lot of guys are starting to reach the top 5 stage. We're actually doing pretty well on a lot of these prospects, but I am noticing that LSU is starting to steal Russ away from us, so what we might have to do is take off Send the House and start to take a couple of risks. I'm gonna hard sell him on this school, but all we know is that he likes brand exposure, so we're gonna find some of the question marks and just hope for the best, because I don't think we even have time to sway his opinion. What's interesting is if I also wanted to soft sell him,
interesting. So he has to guess on what pretty much motivations this recruit have, and if he guessed wrong, well, he will not get this recruit for sure.
Can't use the same pitch, it's locked. So I think Russ is a lost cause. LSU is a better school than Nebraska, and he's also from Mississippi. If he values location, we can't compete, but he is coming on a visit in week 4, and using the soft sell helped us figure out the 3 main things that Kadron Witt cares about, so now we can remove the soft sell and go all in on a hard sell. We want it to line up with the 3 ideals over here, and it looks like that's going to be the aspirational one. And again, like I said, when players hit the top 5 and all 3 of those interests become available, that's when you switch them over from Send the House to the hard sell. Most of the time there is a pitch that's going to cover all 3 of their interests, and there's no reason that we should lose to the Pandas. I pretty much feel like I have to play this game, and we might just get a pick 6 to start it out. We're going to celebrate going all the way to the end zone, and then I hit a celebration. We're about to see what it is, and it's just going to be a pose, I think. I'm sorry, Drew, for what has happened on this field today, but I needed Dylan Raiola to improve, and what am I doing? I'm still terrible. Either way, we won by a lot, improving to 3-0, but this time it was our wide receiver that won player of the game. Some of these guys are starting to reach their top 3, but you'll also notice that Bruce locked us out. And that's because when I scouted him, he was a bust, so I wasn't putting any points on him and we'll remove him from our board. I think it's important for you all to know that a prospect commits to a school whenever that yellow bar across the screen completely fills up. And if you and another school reach that point at the same time, they'll commit to the one with more prestige or the one that's a better fit. That's why this visit against Illinois is so important for us. And after doing send the house for a while, it doesn't get you as many boosts, so that's why you need to remove it and start doing the hard sells once you have all 3 interests. I'm also shocked to see that we're number 20.
That's good to hear. Like, you don't have to just do the same, or you can't do the same thing the entire year. You actually have to switch up for some of these programs. They got Nebraska ranked right now at 23.
In the country. But to be fair, we haven't had to play anybody that good yet, and once we get into the latter half of Big Ten play, I think that's when we're going to start to struggle. Unfortunately, there's nothing that I can do here to like simulate the game. It just lets me force certain wins, but that means whenever skipping over a matchup, I have no idea what just happened. What I do know is that we just signed a 4-star recruit.
That sucks. So you can't just sim a game? That sucks. Wow.
And then we got another one with this defensive tackle. And then another one with Cadron with this quarterback that's going to be a backup to Dylan. Surely we won our visit week if we got all of these 4 stars. But maybe not, because our championship contender just went down by a little bit. We leveled up though, so that's pretty cool. And as you can see on that right panel, we were able to beat out all these schools, but we did cross the finish line at the same time as LSU, so I think the visit is what sealed it. Interestingly enough though, the first game that I didn't play, we lost 33-14. And I'm shocked that we had 0.8 yards per rush while they had over 5. When you're working with a freshman quarterback though, stuff like that's bound to happen. And because
he's 81 overall. Okay, I was looking for his
while they had over 5. When you're
I was looking for his overall rating. 81. Okay. That's cool.
Working with a freshman quarterback though, stuff like that's bound to happen. And because I leveled up, I'm excited to spend my first 10 coach points, whatever the currency is called, and I was going to put it into tier 3 so we could increase the weekly recruiting hours on linebackers. But because we're developing a young quarterback, I actually want to boost his stats with these, so I'm going to go all the way up to tier number 2. If I hit R3, I can see where our coordinators fill in. It looks like they don't do that much. I might end up firing one of them, probably the offensive coordinator at least, because he was hired to run a pro style offense and then I switched it to a spread. With some of these players on our board committed though, that's also going to free up recruiting hours. And I can't stress enough how important Cadron Witt's going to be for us in this rebuild. He starts with 91 throw power, and quarterback was a team need. If we lose Dylan Raiola in a few years, we needed somebody to back him up. Just looking at some of the top guys on our board now, like this 5-star Connor Crisp, we are beating out schools like Iowa for him. But I'm still sending the house because I don't know what all 3 of his main interests are. And somehow I guessed right for the soft sell on Ed McClam, but I noticed that we are starting to lose points on him, so we're gonna have to go for a harder one. It's just gonna be twice as many recruiting hours, but it's going to be the exact same thing, the starter one. And my biggest hope in this rebuild is not only that we win a championship, but you all understand recruiting a little bit better. I'm honestly still figuring things out too, so if you all run into anything when you get the game, putting that in the comments would be very helpful for me. And I'm just proud that this far into the season, I've already been able to sign 4 4-stars. Some of the bigger schools have some better classes, but it looks like not many of the 5-stars have decided anywhere yet. So guys like Connor Crisp might take longer to decide on where they want to play. It's time that we get through another week though, and that's when we'd land Ty McCourt, the 4-star right outside linebacker. Man. Our championship contender dropped again though, so I know we lost, and I can see the 3-2 right under the team prestige. So I don't know what's happening to our team, but our rushing yards per game is so low. Just by the looks of it though, we are throwing the ball more than we're running.
The sim stats are questionable. I heard they will be fixed for day 1, but sim stats are a concern.
That's because I chose LSU's playbook. So it makes sense, and I'm just hoping that we don't lose to Rutgers too. My goal in these first couple seasons is just make a bowl game, hopefully win it, and then also sign a lot of 4 and 5 stars. And we're on pace to get Connor Crisp because we have a lead, and now we can take off, send the house, and finally hard sell him on something because we have all 3 of his things available. It looks like student of the game covers those 3 interests, and since you can only put 4 players a week on a visit, you have to be very strategic about them. But what's nice about these bye weeks is you can't lose, so you're not going to lose points from not winning a game. Whether we win or lose against the Scarlet Knights, we're going to continue to get commits, especially these 4-stars. So I'm proud of what I've done with Nebraska so far, but I'm curious what happened. Our championship contender went up, and I see that we're 4-2. And of course, we're going to get the win when we can finally average almost 7 yards per carry. That's so much better than the previous weeks. Now we have a bye before we get into the hardest part of our schedule. And there are so many different teams in the Big Ten now. We're sitting here near the bottom, but so is USC. That could be a winnable game since we're probably not going to beat Ohio State. And just looking at our team needs,
3-2 and they're ranked 21. That's interesting.
We need to make sure
Not sure about that.
That we signed some more linemen and also some running backs. I also somehow missed that we needed a punter, so that might be something we add in the transfer portal. But maybe not, because I haven't even gone after this player, but we're sitting at first on his board and he could be decent. When scouting most positions, you don't know what you're going to get into, but with special teams players, you can see the two stats that are important. And I found a 4-star gem in Randy Toney. He has 93 speed, and it said that he would play halfback for us. It seems like every time we advance the week, more players sign, and they're all 4 stars, which is incredible. The later that we get into the season, the less recruiting changes. We're just hoping to seal all of these guys, even though Alabama's coming in on that one, and then Notre Dame.
He is bringing a great recruiting class. Like, I think all these athletes he just went through, he's in the lead for. This is a recruiting seems easy. I can't lie, it seems a bit easy.
But what would also be nice is if we won our 2nd straight game, and by the numbers, we're slightly better overall wise, while we have a better wide receiver too. The actual game of the week is Alabama at number 9 Tennessee. You can see by this icon right here. And hopefully the Hoosiers don't take us down. We only got 1 more commit, while improving to 5-2, so our championship contenders gone up. To start the season 5-2 in a rebuild, I feel like is very impressive. But it's Dylan Raiola that's carrying us. 365 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and no turnovers. With our season not over yet, I have to play against Ohio State, and this is probably going to be a very tough environment to play in. They're coming out of the tunnel right now. You can see the stadium's packed, and this is the 6th toughest place to play. Our freshman quarterback's in trouble because I don't know what button those wide receivers are. I can't even hot route them. I can only hot route the players that I'm actually aware of what they are, and I tried to put him on a corner route, but he did not go on a corner route, and now I don't know what to do. At the end of the day, I just wasn't able to keep up with the Buckeyes. Their defense was really solid, and we got blown out by 24 points. Even when I started to score, we couldn't stop Will Howard, but we did level up, so I'm going to go back into scheme and then make sure that our quarterback gets even more boost to all of his stats. The freshman started the year as an 80 overall, and now he's an 84. And throughout the course of his career, all of this stuff is just going to continue.
One thing I noticed, like, his stats are not limited. You know, some stats for some athletes definitely are capped off. It'll be like a little X mark, but 5-star athlete, one of the top quarterback recruits, he has full potential, it seemed like.
To increase more and more. There were a couple players that we knew other schools were going to start to target though, like Alabama trying to get this wide receiver. They're catching up quickly, and he's 6'3" with 95 jumping and 90 speed, so I'd love to land him. At this point in the year, all I have left is just scheduling visits and keeping our main pitches on all of these guys, so that's what I'm going to continue to do. And after losing to the Buckeyes, all I want to do is make a bowl game. In order to do that, all we have to do is win one of these Final 4, and we should be able to do that. But just looking at these Big Ten standings, it's interesting to see teams like Penn State not doing that well. If you have a tough schedule, you're gonna lose. And we have signed our first 5-star, Connor Frisk. He finally committed. Iowa. We also got this wide receiver before Alabama could steal him from us, and it's got to be because we beat UCLA, improving to 6-3.
His recruiting class is very elite. I don't think I've seen one 3-star yet.
49-28, our offense went off, and you know that means our starting quarterback had 6 touchdowns. So I'm really happy, and my first recruiting class ever on this game is currently ranked in the top 10. If we can win this game, there's a chance.
That's concerning. Only concerning because Nebraska probably shouldn't have a top 10 recruiting class next year. That's the only reason it's concerning. Listen, I'm hyped too. It's that
we're still in the running to make the playoffs. But I have noticed on some of the Final 4 stars I'm targeting, we're going to lose this guard to Notre Dame because I'm doing everything that I can, and they're just able to get more points. The reason for that is probably because he's from Indiana, which is very close to the Irish, and all is good because we just signed this 4-star tight end from Kentucky, along with the punter that we really needed. But the thing I cared about was getting that tight end just because this player's probably transferring still. I knew we were probably going to lose this guy to Notre Dame though, so that's what happened. And now that it's the end of the season, I guess we could go after more players, but there's only 3 left that we still need to try to land before that first signing day and scouting.
I'm going to keep saying it. This class he bringing in damn near will be a top 5 class.
Wise, remember, Tony's the running back at athlete that I really want. It looks like next up on the schedule is a rivalry game against Wisconsin, and they're 2 overalls better than us. And I don't think I ever mentioned it, but USC did beat us by 3. I just saw that our record was 6-4, so I know we didn't come out on top. Just because of how difficult our conference is, I think it's going to be very hard to complete this rebuild winning a championship. And maybe Randy Toney's what we needed to get to the next level. Of the 3 players left on our board, 2 of them have committed to our school, so that's a good sign that we have come out on top versus the Badgers futures winning this rivalry. Even though we play in the Big Ten though, since our schedule's not been that hard, we're not ranked in the top 25 like some of these other 6 and 4 teams are. So there's really no reason for me to play this rivalry to end the year, but I love how you can scroll through all of these menu screens, and also look at this, another layout of all the standings in the Big Ten. I keep discovering new things, and the fun. Also,
I'm gonna go back to that screen real quick. That is cool. I love the. You can see everything, everyone record, and conference overall. I love that screen right there. Perfect.
This, another layout of all the standings in the Big Ten. I keep discovering new things, and the final player on our board's Jeff Bayless. I think we'll be able to get him to commit, and that's what happened, which means we have a class of 20 players. I thought I had a pretty good grasp on recruiting, but I didn't think I...
So, top 10 class, 17 4-stars, 1 5-star, 2 3-stars. That's good. That's very good.
Signed 17 4-stars before this first year even ended, and that means you should take my advice with some of these tips, but we did finish 7-5. A lot of our games were pretty close though, so I'll take it. And stat-wise, Dylan Raiola had a great freshman year, 3,500 passing yards, 33 touchdowns, and he just needs to cut back on the turnovers. Running the ball is where we struggled a bit though. As you can see, even Dante Dodal only had 567 yards, and we didn't have one standout receiver besides maybe this guy who had double-digit touchdown receptions. As for the Heisman Trophy, that went to Alabama's Jalen Milroe, and we've made the Las Vegas Bowl versus the Florida Gators. I decided not to fire either my offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. They're a level 23. They're not bad. And if I wanted to take it, I would have a couple job offers like Oklahoma at head coach, but I don't want to move. Cool. That's a series that'll come later on, but this is what the first 12-team playoff looks like in this dynasty. And since it's also early signing day, all of these players that have committed throughout the year have officially signed, so they can't leave our school anymore. We had 0 flips in commitment, which means we're staying as the number 9 class in the country, and soon after the playoffs are over, the transfer portal will open up. We'll have fun with that, but for now I want to see some bowl presentation, and we're here in Las Vegas in Allegiant Stadium. You can see the Gators mascot chomping away, and the helmets on here just look so clean. Unfortunately though, we haven't had the best of games so far. We just lost the ball off of a fumble, and it's because even though I don't want to admit it, the Gators defense has been super solid. I almost feel like we have to go for it on 4th and 6 and they're going to knock it down. So that led to another touchdown, and there was no coming back after that. Throughout this year though, I think we learned a lot about the team that we're working with, and I feel like we have a really bright future still. I love that little rock the baby celebration. You hit R2 and right stick to the right to do it, and that's all the satisfaction I can get out of this with a bad loss. We had a solid enough year though to where not many players wanted to transfer, and I have to follow the playoffs even if Jacksonville State only put up 6 points in the first round. By the time the national championship came around, it was Oregon versus Michigan, and it was the Ducks that came out on top by just 1 point. When it came to players leaving though, it just looks like we're losing about 8 starters, including this corner that's going on to the NFL, and that tight end that said he wants to transfer never entered the portal. He's at risk, but he doesn't want to leave, and our team prestige went from 3.5 stars to 4.5 stars. So I'm assuming that some of these team grades had to have increased. It's now time for the transfer portal though, and because we signed so many players, there's not many guys that are still in need. But what you can take away from this is the number of players a school loses varies a ton, because schools like Georgia Southern probably...
Whoa, there, Georgia Southern whole roster is in the portal.
Were bad, so a lot of players transferred, while Jacksonville State was amazing.
James Madison whole roster.
So they only had 1 guy leave. Just by scouting these guys, there's nobody special that I really want, but I do think it would be nice to have some extra bodies on the team. And how you would recruit them is very similar to a high school player. You offer them a scholarship. You're also able to add on actions like sending the house immediately. And if they started in your top 5, you can also schedule them for a visit, which is nice, but I don't know what this player likes, so I'm not going to do it yet. Draft results wise, Tommy Hill went in the 4th round like he was supposed to, and this transfer period only goes on for 4 weeks, so things are going to happen very quick. I have a feeling Alabama's probably going to get Owens from us, but if we bring him on a visit soon, maybe he'll commit to Nebraska. And we kind of lucked out that by the next week, we already found his main 3 interests. I even decided to remove one of the transfer wide receivers from our board because we're going after this guy who's in high school, and a deep threat with 94 speed is so valuable. If players don't start committing though, we are in trouble, and I've seen 2 3-stars, but not the 4-star running back we wanted, because both us and the Crimson Tide reached that period at the same time, and they have more school prestige. As for Mitch Turbin, he's not going to make a final decision in 1 week, but he signed with us anyway because when recruiting ended, we were the school with the lead. 23 players is pretty solid. There were some classes better than ours with 5 stars in it, but I'll take 18 4-stars and 1 5.
And so he bring in 23 total athletes. That's with the transfer portal, and I think part of that is because he focused so heavily on 4 and 5 stars. A lot of these other schools brought in a lot of 3 stars. But interesting. Definitely probably want to bring in more recruits in real life at least.
star, especially since Connor Crisp ended up being an 80 overall. Some of the other best freshmen included Brian Bland and then Russ as well. But what I cared about was the future behind Dylan, this freshman quarterback, and he is a 74. We also have these 3 athletes that we can move around, including Randy Toney, who goes to running back or corner. I don't know what we're going to choose yet, but I think running back's best. So that's what I went with, since this other freshman was a 66. We even had this athlete from Louisville that I decided to put at tight end, but this was interesting because I could have put him at linebacker or safety too. And for the final guy, I guess what we'll do is just add on another power rusher. There were still some smaller movements I had to make just to help out our overall, but after that it was time for training results, and you'll see that Dylan is our best player as an 88. I also leveled up a lot, which is going to allow me to recruit. Dylan is our best.
Only thing I don't like about this is you cannot see their previous overall. You just see what they jump up to. I hope they change that.
Player is an 88. I also leveled up a lot, which is going to allow me to recruit even better, so I'm just going to keep getting this always be recruiting tier 3. It seems to be very good. But also I need to go ahead and unlock this motivator tree, because if you get to a tier 3 in some of these, you're going to get an off-season bonus for both wide receivers and tight ends, and then of course it will go for all the other positions too. Once we get more coaching points, we just need 5 more from leveling up. We're going to go for tier 3 in quarterback, and I'm starting to have an even spread with everything, while my coordinators are also doing the same. Going into the season, we only have a couple players at risk of transferring again, and this is where I have to get rid of players we don't need, because our roster size is at 92 and we have to get it all the way down to 85. Things kind of worked out because I just got rid of the defensive tackle complaining about playing time. And scheduling wise, things are about to get a lot more difficult because we're going to have to play Penn State, Maryland, and Oregon, and Ohio State this year. As you can probably guess, we're not in the preseason top 25, but I think our conference projection is a little bit better than it was last season. That makes sense though. We now have a sophomore quarterback that's up to an 88, and I'm kind of worried with how much he's improved because he redshirted his freshman year in real life that he'll enter the NFL after this season. That's kind of a problem because when you look at our team needs, we already need 2 quarterbacks. If he leaves, we'll need 3, and we also need a couple other offensive positions with some defensive ones as well, because we have 15 seniors and we have to make sure we replace all 15. I think because my coach stability is getting better though, and we've improved with some of these other team grades, we're going to have better prospects interested in our school, like these 4 5-stars, and I think I'm going to go after 3 of them. I'm not having too many issues finding gym after gym, but the big highlight is this left guard because he's a 5-star and also a gym, which means he's probably the best player on the board. My biggest find though might be this quarterback. He has 94 throw power, a bunch of good accuracies too. I just don't know how long it's going to take for us to get into the race, so in the next week we have to focus on that if we want to make the cut before he decides on his top 8, and all I can do is send the house. By the time I've done that for everybody, we can go after 18 different players with the send the house because we had 900 recruiting hours available to us, and I want to get to the top of the board. That's when you see players like quarterback Amani Spears, who I've already mentioned, and then these 3-star recruits. 2 of them are offensive linemen, but Jay Spears is a corner with 95 speed, and I really want him. The main problem is going to be the bigger schools are probably going to beat us out, especially for these higher rated recruits, and I'm still figuring out how all of this works. We made Amani Spears top 8. In fact, we've jumped up to number 2, but Colorado has a bigger lead, and with some of these players we're off to a great start, but then there's other ones where we're going to have to really work to come back. Since everybody's at the top 8 period, I can't do anything else. They're not able to be scheduled for a visit, and also all the cells are locked behind the top 5. So if anything, we should focus on our first matchup. And I jumped into this game to see what Nippert Stadium looked like, but as you can see, this is in a massive dome, and it's apparently at Lucas Oil Stadium. This must be a kickoff game of some sort, and sure enough, in real life, Cincinnati is hosting the Cornhuskers here next year, so this is realistic. And I feel like that level of
that's super cool that they actually have like future matchups in, you know, certain locations. They have that in the game. That is super cool.
Super impressive, but we have to get some stops. To start the second quarter, we have them on a 3rd and 15, so all we have to do is make a tackle on their running back, and they weren't as aggressive as I thought they might be. Instead, they're trying to pin us back inside the 20. This one's been a fun one to play because they're not a crazy team, and on the run, please tell me that is an accurate throw, because I saw it late and we still brought it in. Now I have to bring the jet touch pass back out. I promise you all are going to see this so much from me throughout this whole year, and let's go ahead and see the rock the baby celebration. After that score though, we missed the extra point, and there's only a couple minutes left in this game where it's tied at 13. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm still struggling a lot with this game, but that's a good throw, and we really could settle for a field goal and win this one. I'm starting to have a little bit of success again, so we're in a better spot than I was thinking we'd be. And the only thing that worries me a little bit is I'm still not great with the kick meter, so I could miss the game winner. Cincinnati's also decided to start calling timeouts, but we are gonna get a huge handoff up the middle. So from here, we can run out the rest of the clock, and we're just just going to settle for a field goal unless we get in with this run, and we don't. The pressure's on.
College
It's pretty
kickers
similar
miss.
to the extra
That's what
point
they do
I
in
missed,
real
but
life.
we are going to
I hear
drill
that.
it. And we're going to beat Cincinnati even if it was super close. That's a good start to the year. I'm also seeing a lot of top 5s, but we know these 5 stars are going to be hard to come by, especially this guy versus Georgia, so we might just have to hope we unlock all 3 interest quick. For the first time in this rebuild, I'm going to try to sway a prospect. I think we have to go for the one with athletic facilities in it. And after scrolling through 13 prospects, finally one of them has unlocked all 3 of their interest already. Just because they're the most effective for this point total, I think we're going to have to keep focusing on getting the hard sells on there, and there's no reason we should lose this one to Akron. Looks like we came out on top being 2-0 and championship contender increasing, and that was expected even if we only came out on top by 4, and now we have time to prepare for some of our bigger matchups in the season. It looks like the sway has not helped out from a recruiting pitch standpoint, so I'm hoping that we have all 3 of these unlocked, and we do, which means sway was pretty effective. Now we can go into the hard sell, and it's locked, so why did I do that? I guess we're gonna have to roll with this one, hoping that he cares a lot about playing time. And honestly, I'm expecting to lose out on the 5-star, but maybe I'll get one of these guys because we're in the league.
I mean, I can see he in the lead for all 3 5-stars.
And honestly,
so no, he's in second for
I'm
this
expecting
one.
to lose out on
In the lead for the cornerback.
the 5-star, but maybe I'll
in the lead for the guard.
get one of these guys because we're in the lead for both of them and the quarterback too. We're not going to get this 5-star though. We're just losing way too many points. I mean, I might as well give it a shot.
He is dominating recruiting in his first 2 years.
But we'd also need a visit to go our way, so we're just going to start scheduling them for all of these bye weeks. The risk just isn't worth it for the Penn State game. It kind of is for the Oregon one, so maybe we'll try it with this 5-star. But something went wrong because both Matt Huntley and then this other quarterback have locked us out. He went to Iowa State, and we're not having success in recruiting, but we are in the polls going up to number 20 in the country. It looks like this pitch is not landing for this player, but I don't know what else to do. And I just realized this entire time I should have been putting 65 points on the 5-star corner. We also leveled up, so now I can make sure that we're going to get an off-season training boost at quarterback, and also that they are hot in the close games. And I'm going to try to figure out sways again, but this time on a bunch of stuff that he doesn't already care about. After a lot of work in recruiting, we're starting to get some commits. But we missed out on this 4-star cornerback to Miami. They beat us out for him. Even though he was a bust, I felt like his stats were pretty solid. And if this visit with Tony doesn't come soon, he's going to Georgia. The swaying stuff worked on Jared Lewis too. Now we have 3 interests that we can go after with him. I think we need to start focusing our attention to on the field play though, because we are somehow now number 14. And I think we could lose to Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State and still make it into the playoffs. Ideally though, it would be nice to beat one of them, and our fans are in for a treat. Memorial Stadium's pumped up right now, and it's also our first rain game, so that's interesting. I think my main goal has to be to feed the ball to Dante Dodal, but Penn State's already generated a lot of pressure, and that is such a great throw. By the time it is 4th and 1, we have decided to go for it, and we had an open player that catches it, and this is the first time I'm going into instant replay. It slipped out of his hands, but he still brought it in. If we get points on this first drive, it is going to be because of him. And how is Dante still going? That's what you want to see out is going to be.
Look like pretty solid game.
Slipped out of his hands, but he still brought it in. If we get points on this first drive, it is going to
but they gave him a spin move
because of him. And how is Dante still going? That's what you want to see out of your running back. And on a 4th and 1, they're going to get the interception. That's not exactly ideal. We had a big moment, then I made a mistake, and you can see our fans are shocked. That offensive blunder might cost us because we haven't been able to score, and I'm about to try to hit a 52-yard field goal, but I don't know if I put enough power on it. That was such
college kickers missed. That meter was going so fast. Wow, that looks hard to time.
And I'm about to try to hit a shock. That offensive blunder might cost us because we haven't been able to score, and I'm about to try to hit a 52-yard field goal, but I don't know if I put enough power on it. That was such a tough one to drill. It's the farthest I've made so far. And after getting a turnover, we could keep this game close.
I'm glad it looks like it's fixed at least.
Going into the half. The problem is I have to make another 52-yarder, and I don't think this one is going to go as well. It went straight to the return man. Do not tell me that this guy's about to get a touchdown out of this, please. That kick meter is something, and they are going for it on 4th down, but our corner couldn't stick with that wide receiver, and he's gone. You know, this Penn State defense is probably going to be the best in the country next year. I can see why. And it's going to take me a while to get used to this game. It took me 4 quarters to score on the Nittany Lions, and we just couldn't get the win at the end of the game. I think we still have a long way to go when it comes to improving, and we've signed a 4-star tight end, which we really needed to get. Unfortunately, like I thought, Tony did decide on Georgia, but for pretty much everybody else on our board, we are in a lead on them, and the one player that we're not is a bust at tackle, so he's probably only like a 3-star prospect. I'm not happy with how this class is going to turn out, but maybe I'll start to look for a few more players. And there's no telling if we'll actually get them, but it doesn't hurt to add some dudes to our board. I didn't want a huge class this year, and just looking at our conference standings, there's like 8 ranked teams in the Big Ten, with Maryland being another one, but we have the overall advantage, so I decided to sim it, and that's where I met with this 4-star prospect. Things must have gone well. We won 38-28, and that is probably with a big offensive game from our quarterback, which he didn't have any turnovers. Now we're hosting
Dylan has been going crazy in simulation for him.
Number 3 Oregon, but I played the last one against Penn State, so I'm just going to make sure everybody on our board's still set, and then I'm going to see what happens when we sim it. There were a lot of players visiting for that game, so I feel like if we get a lot of commits like a 5-star corner, maybe we upset Oregon. And we have another 5-star with right guard Jared Lewis. We got this tackle as well, so we also would get the tight end too. And even a middle linebacker. Surely we beat Oregon for all of that to go our way. Like, that's 5 commits. Recruits. Well, maybe not. I see that we're sitting at 3-2, but we moved up in the polls for losing. And it was only a 3-point loss compared to the Penn State one, so I did make the right decision in simming. Just looking at the rest of our schedule, as long as we only lose to Ohio State, I think we're going to make it to the playoffs. And our team keeps on upgrading throughout the season. And we might only have 8 commits so far, but because 2 of them are 5-stars, we have the 13th best class. I'm proud of what we've put together, especially if we can sign this 4-star gym. And he came on a visit class. I'm proud. Might only have 8 commits.
So 13th ranked class, okay. 2 5-stars, 6 4-stars, okay. Okay, makes sense.
So far, but because 2 of them are 5-stars, we have the 13th best class. I'm proud of what we've put together, especially if we can sign this 4-star gym. And he came on a visit versus Louisiana Monroe, so he should be in here somewhere. We just got a 5-star, but it says for Spears we've only reached his top 3 schools, so maybe he wasn't ready yet. I just know we keep winning if our championship contender's up to an A+. And what's so cool about rebuilds in this game is that's good enough to make the playoffs. Eventually, Spears did decide to join our team, along with Dylan Garnes, another halfback, so that's 2 more commits. And even if all of these wins have been very tight, we were able to get another one, and now we're playing number 1 Ohio State. I don't know what to think right now. We're currently ranked number 6 in the country, but we know it's going to be tough, and I don't think there's any right now. We're
5-2 record. You know, they did lose to Penn State, and I think also with Ohio State they lost another top program. Okay, I guess. How are they ranked higher than Penn State? And Penn State beat Nebraska. Interesting for sure. Not sure I fully understand what's going on here, but definitely Penn State have the head-to-head win over Nebraska. No way they should be ranked higher than them. But yeah.
We're currently ranked number 6 in the country, but we know it's going to be tough, and I don't think there's any chance that we're able to make the Big Ten championship still. This is about to be the most important game on our schedule, but even if we lose this night game at Memorial Stadium, we should still be fine to make the playoffs and almost got out of there. It's nice for all of these big games to have the home crowd advantage on our side. I'm also able to run with Dylan a bit, but we have to convert on this 3rd and 8, and that was such a late read. If I would have hit it sooner, we would have been able to get more than a field goal, and I missed, so I should have just gone for it on 4th down. I told you all the first month of me playing this game was going to be a mess, but we could get them off the field on this 3rd and 7, and we do. So they had to kick a field goal, but ever since then, it's just gone downhill. We haven't gotten points throughout the half, and it took me 4 quarters to get 1 touchdown. I knew it was going to be a long process for me to be decent at the game, but that also means this rebuild might take me forever, because once we get to the playoffs, I have to play every game on All-American. That loss dropped us down to number 21 in the polls. That's a huge drop from 6 to there, but when you look at our schedule, we haven't beaten anybody good yet, so we shouldn't have been ranked that high. With our team currently being an 89 though, I feel pretty confident, so I'm gonna sim at least a few weeks and maybe try to stop it before 14. During that process, you know we're gonna get more commits, but unfortunately we did pick up a loss, so that was countered by having our first conference defensive player of the week. It looks like we beat our rivals Minnesota. Michigan State was no issue, but it was Northwestern that took us down by 2. And sure enough, whenever we lose, we just don't run the ball well. We averaged 0.3 yards per carry. Our season ends against Iowa, another rival, and and this is good for visit week, so anybody that needs one I'll schedule. But we aren't making the playoffs, and turns out everybody already took their visit. There was this 5-star I started going after late, but as you can see, Tennessee's going to get him, and we're going to get a couple 4-stars probably, but that's not the 5-star I was hoping for. Like I just said, he would decide on Tennessee, and we lost again somehow to Iowa. I knew that everything was going way better than it should have, but just like last year,
this is such an Iowa game. This is such an Iowa Nebraska game. I knew low scoring.
that everything was going way better than it should have, but just like last year, we have the number 9 ranked class at the moment, and the transfer portal opens up soon, so maybe we can improve more. Just because I want to test out the feature, I am going to fire our offensive coordinator, but finding a level 32 replacement could be difficult. The reason I got rid of him though is Dylan Raiola's stats took a big step back, and we still haven't had a rushing game, even if that's what he's best at. Wide receiver wise, once again, nothing too impressive going on here, and it could be a while before we make the conference championship. This year it was Cade Klubnik that won the Heisman, and our bowl game's against Hawaii, so we should come out on top. For early national signing day, we have 3 5-stars that are officially on the team next year, and I finally get to experience what it's like to hire a coordinator in this game. I don't know what I'm doing, but I guess I'll look for a high level. Actually, I kind of like this guy. He's very good at player development, and I'm going to offer James Tucker a job, but Missouri's also going after him. We won't know for another week whether or not he chooses us, but I'm hoping he does, and let's destroy Hawaii. We can't afford to lose another bowl game, and the LA Bowl's presentation is beautiful. After getting a defensive stop, we have it on the 5-yard line, and I just got that out. But it's clear things are tight here down on the goal line, and I love this jet touch pass, especially if you can get some fast guy out in the space. So I was hoping that would work a little bit better for us, and as long as we don't throw a pick, I guess we're fine. I think I underestimated the Rainbow Warriors, to be honest. I'm just not great at this game so far, but we're going to hit them hard, and holding them to a field goal is fine. What's not fine is I have not scored, and there's only 2 minutes left in this half, but attempting the field goal could go very wrong, and I hit it too hard. This time around, I literally might just throw the crosser, or maybe the slant. The slant's open for 20, and the truck also made a miss, and we're not getting out of there. Trust me, once I figure things out, we will be fine. There are some sick moves in this game, and if I step up and run, we might as well take that. There's a lot of open space on the field. Do a little spin move, and we're down at the 4, but I fumbled. Wonderful. That's exactly what I wanted in that situation. Please do not return it. This is literally the worst way to end the first half, and Hawaii just celebrated on me like that. I have to take it personally now. I cannot lose to the Rainbow Warriors. They're literally stunting on me, and I was thinking surely we'd find a way to get some points before the half, but I'm not sure if we're going to, and what a grab. This game is so important to me because we cannot go 6-7. We have to at least get to 8 wins in the year, and on third down they didn't send the blitz like I thought they would, but we're also not getting far enough. I have to go for it to end the half. The exact same play. We have our tight end open, and this is the moment that the comeback started. Our next drive, it's 3rd and inches. They probably thought that we were going to run there, but we had to throw it, and you've got to be kidding. We better pick up this 4th down. Please just fight for it. That was a great offensive showing right there. I'm trying to be a little bit smarter, but this game is so difficult, and we have pulled it to run into the end zone after celebrating. I actually love how much I can celebrate on this game, and we just got an interception, so guess who's going for another touchdown? Now that we have some momentum, I think we're okay, but Hawaii got a touchdown, and they're about to get another. 2nd and goal. I'm expecting a run or something. It looks like they had someone in motion, but they throw the interception straight to us. Pimpin has it in his hands, and that is such a huge stop from the guy with the crop top jersey. Ever since that moment, we've been holding on, and they're going for it on a 4th and 7, but they just didn't have what it takes to keep up with us for 4 quarters, and they should have never celebrated in the first place. Dante Dodo, please get to the outer edge. We'd eventually get in, sealing our first bowl game win, and the guys deserve it, but we need to make the playoffs next year. I mean, if Dylan comes back, he's then going to be a junior, so he should want to accomplish more than being the LA Bowl winner, and now we've had our first National Defensive Player of the Week. It stinks that AJ Rollins was a senior because he went kind of crazy with the sacks, and after firing our last offensive coordinator, we have hired a new one named James Tucker. Even if he's a lower level than what we had, and it's a pro-style offense, I'm excited to see what he has in this motivator tree, and he has it maxed out where quarterbacks get a full off-season boost. When you combine that with mine, plus I think we're going to start getting it to all of our linebackers as well, that's very good for training results. And when it comes to the playoffs, Michigan got their revenge from losing last year, beating Alabama, and they won by 14. It was an impressive performance, even though they were the lower overall. Now it's time for us to lose a ton of seniors to graduation, though, and this junior wants to go to the draft early. Dylan Raiola does not, but I'm going to try to persuade him to come back, and let's just hope that Coleman wants to play for us, and he does. He could have gone on to the NFL with all these seniors, but he wants to have some more success at Nebraska. And when it comes to the transfer portal, there are a few players that are interested in our school, so we're going to go after them. Since we have the right upgrades, we're able to put 65 points on all 4 of these, and things go by so quickly. The transfer portal is a fast-paced thing, but it looks like we have a chance to get all of them, and it looks like the linebacker with 93 excel decided on Florida. We did get lucky with this 4-star defensive tackle though, because we're going to be able to hard sell to his 3 biggest interests, and we're about to see who we've added on to our recruiting class. We got the 2 3-stars, but it looks like the 4-star decided on Wisconsin. That's unfortunate, but we didn't lose that many seniors. We've replaced all of them in
7th ranked class, only 18 athletes. No 2 3-stars, 13 4-stars, 3 5-stars. Interesting for sure. The volume of recruits is just so low, but interesting.
and we signed a better class than last year. Just looking at some of these freshmen, the highest overall is Jace Spears, but we brought in a lot of good ones, including the quarterback that's a 76. Athlete-wise, it also looks like we've cleaned up pretty nicely, and Dylan Garnes, the freshman, will just go over to power back with 90 speed. Now, I will say I haven't had to deal with transfers much so far, but this is the first one that scares me. But it's kind of a good thing because player progression went so well. Dylan Raiola has 2 amazing wide receiving targets, and so many guys improved a lot. Just looking at our rushers, there's going to be a lot of competition, so I can't blame him for wanting to transfer out. And it's a good thing we have so many corners because we have to start cutting down this roster size. I always go for the seniors here that aren't going to see the field. It's unfortunate they're not going to finish their degree here at Nebraska on the field for us, but they have to get off of the team. And this is the stage where we could mess around with conference realignment since the Big Ten is so tough, but I'm not going to do that. We have to win it legitimately. I think we stand a good shot at making the playoffs with a 91 overall team. And because our schedule is so difficult, there's no way that we're also going to play Tennessee. I've got to change that out for somebody like the Riverside Royals. Just looking at the rest of it, we play USC and Oregon at home, and then we go to Michigan. We play Ohio State at home again. And I can guarantee this is our last year with Dylan, so we have to make the most of it. Just looking at the Big Ten conference projections, we're actually all the way down here at number 10. It's that tough. But I think we're better than most of these other teams. They all look like they're in the 80s, and then we're up there at 91. This might actually be a decent window for me to win it, but I still have to make sure that we're targeting some good recruiting prospects. And I feel like our team needs are always going to be flooded. We're losing 15 seniors, so we just need 15 more talented guys. I've been finding a few busts, but I also found this wide receiver that has 97 speed. And then there's this quarterback that's supposed to be really good, so we're probably going to target him too. It's not like we need one with these 3 young guys, but it never hurts to have another option. And I'm excited to use Dante Dodal this season because he's up to a 90 overall. Before we start the year though, I think we need to switch up the playbook so we have something else, maybe a run style one like Arizona, because that matches up with our offensive coordinator's style, and I might want to start putting stuff into the running game too. We have 30 coach points to spend, and with 10 of them left, I'm actually going to go over here to this one and then go for Too Loud. It significantly increases the effects of crowd noise at home, so theoretically Ohio's in a ton of trouble, and if we didn't win that, I wouldn't know what to think. I know we did though because we had the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week, and our schedule's built for us to start 2-0 and then get into the tougher games like USC and Oregon. Our first game with our new offense, we scored 49 points, and Dylan Raiola's off to a good start, but I just hope that he's able to keep it up. Next up are the Royals, and they're only a 69 overall, so theoretically we should be fine. And just looking at most of these recruits, we're doing pretty well, but some of the 5-stars we're not going to land. You really can't do much besides send the house until about week 3 or 4, and we're moving up the polls even if our wins aren't that impressive. In recruiting, it looks like we're set to get at least 3 5-stars, and then maybe we'll get one of these 2 guys as well. But in order to do that, we have to start scheduling visits, and our first one's going to be at home versus USC in week 4, so that should be interesting. One of the players coming is the guy with 97 speed, and if we were ever going to have a game of the week, I feel like this would have deserved it. Instead though, it went to number 1 Texas at number 8 South Carolina, and that does make some sense, but it is time to get hyped because we're about to face off against the Trojans at home. It feels like every game here's been in front of a sold out crowd, and starting out with the jet touch pass, we're going to go over to this left side of the field where the blocks just didn't pick up. I'm going to be smart and strategic in this, especially since they're getting in pressure fast, and by smart and strategic I mean running the Wildcat and just hoping that we're able to break off a big run. I finally found a playbook with a lot more trick plays, so I want to have something work for us, and please tell me we can get to the outside. I feel like I've done so much recruiting to where I just want to play some football on the field, and we are going all the way to the 15. This new playbook might just be what fixes my offense because I've struggled throughout this video. And on 2nd and 14, playbook might just be what fixes my
23. You gotta find some work, man. You gotta find some work. Damn, it sucks to see us not fixed.
field, and we are going
work,
all the way
man.
to the 15. This new
Gotta
playbook
find
might
some
just
work.
be what fixes my offense because I've
Easy
struggled
block
throughout
right
this
there.
video. And on 2nd and 14, they're sending in a blitz, so I had to get it out super quick. All right, 3rd and 14. I feel like we beat them off of the line over there, but I'm back to struggling, and that's why we might never win the championship. Even with this play super pumped up, we have to get a stop, and we do. But then we'd find ourselves in a 3rd and inches after giving up a touchdown on their next drive, so it was a good thing we picked it up. I need to just continue to look for those underneath routes. Those are the ones that lead to big plays. And now that we're down inside the goal line, I'll just keep going back to our tight end. I did tell myself I'd get a touchdown out of Wildcat though, so we're going to try to go for it. And even with the backup, we have enough speed. Now on a 3rd and 6 with a couple minutes left in this 2nd quarter, I want to go for the flea flicker, and we are going to have Lloyd deep. That is a touchdown. So I've put off my first huge trick play, and that was one of the coolest things I have ever seen. He was almost wide open. It's like the defense didn't expect it. I mean, they shouldn't have. And that was so neat, but as this game goes on, we have to make sure that we keep picking up all of our 4th downs. And if there's anything I need to do before we get closer to halftime, I have to try to get in field goal range. It's going to be a hard kick from 46, so maybe we can pick up a few more yards. And now we have a chance to take a 13-point lead. This is a big moment, but it really wasn't that fast until I hit all of the power. And we're having a good day, but we could be winning by even more. Luckily, in the 2nd half, our defense has been really solid, but on 4th down, they picked that up. So with 3 minutes left, they're doing their best to stay in this game, but we're going to get the sack this time. That was a huge win over the number 5 team in the country. And I actually feel really good about the roster that I'm working with. Whether or not we have success is now dependent upon my skill. And just looking at some of the position groups on this team, I've done a really good job bringing in guys like Greg Bruss. Our offensive line's also crazy because of some of the recruits I got, and I filled in almost every hole Nebraska had, but we're getting deal breakers with this guy named Dennis Moss, and it's for our playing style. I've never had that before, but deal breakers
when you're in the lead for a prospect is crazy because of playing style. That's crazy.
This guy named Dennis Moss, and it's for our playing style. I've never had that before, but we either need to get more tackles for loss or sacks to increase it. And I wish I could say I've done enough of a rebuild here to where we don't need more of these guys, but we really do. So I've got to start focusing in on all of their key interests. I dealt with all of it, and we have 4 5-stars that want to be scheduled for a visit, so I should probably choose a game for that. Maybe it's Ohio State, because it's the week of the Oregon game, so it can't be now, and we have the game of the week. I guess it makes sense. We've moved up to number 7 in the country. Then there's
7, they 3-0. Okay.
Sitting down here at number 12. And a lot's on the line because right now we're in a position where we could make the Big Ten championship. Just out of curiosity, I think I've got to scroll through all of the jerseys that Oregon has in this game before we play against them. And everything about the presentation just looks amazing. I'm pretty happy with how it all turned out. I don't know about you all, but it's everything I was expecting, and there are the Oregon Ducks in the yellow jerseys. Oh boy, it is raining here at Memorial Stadium. I still haven't gotten a single kickoff return, but I do want to open up the game with the flea flicker because there's no way that they would expect this to come, and this could be it. Please tell me we're going to have a touchdown here. Once again, Lloyd is gone to the crib, and it always confuses them. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. I'm so glad I found that in the playbook, and it works. But what's happened so far, I would have never expected. Our defense got to stop. We're going to score again. So that turnover set us up perfectly, and it's 14-0. We would give up 10 straight, though, and now they have the ball with a chance to take the lead. Nobody's over to that player. He slips off of us twice, and that's it. All of a sudden, we are losing, but they're pressing some of our best wide receivers, and why did I just throw it up like that? I meant for it to be a bullet. I'm still getting used to the controls. It looks like we should have had that, and our defense has started to crumble. With a minute left in this half, we're not doing great, but sometimes you just have to force it into those windows, and I'll take the check down if it's open too. We have a very wide formation for this one, and I think they're in man-to-man coverage, so I might just try to step up in the pocket, but I better be careful about the clock, and that throw is on target. I rarely run the ball, but with 40 seconds left in the half, we still can. And on 3rd and goal, we got somebody coming across very fast, but he can't outrun that edge. And the block didn't hold, which means we are trailing by 7 points at the half. I thought I'd recruited pretty well for this defense, but we still got work to do. Because even after getting a stop there, we're giving up at least a field goal, and we're trailing by 10 once again. It's almost like we're always on 3rd or 4th down, and I probably had something there. I shouldn't have tried to give it to the tight end, but they're going to get the pick somehow. And as time winds down in this one, it is 4 4th down. I barely got that throw out in time, and you can tell it's over. I tried my best at the end to pull off a comeback, but Dante Moore was just so hard to keep up with. And I think the only commit we're getting this week because of it's a punter. We even got locked out of the 5-star QB, and that was with Jalen Lloyd going off. From here on out, though, we should beat teams like Northwestern. So assuming we take them down in Maryland, then we have Michigan and Ohio State, and if we just win one of those two, I think we're a playoff team. If not, we might be in a little bit of trouble because the recruiting slowed down. We still have the deal breaker there. Of course, I just said we got locked out of him.
You still in the lead for 2 5-stars, it looked like.
Ohio State, and if we just win one of those two, I think we're a playoff team. If not,
in the lead by a lot for a 5-star edge.
We might be in a little bit of trouble.
In the lead, only school in the running for this 5-star running back.
Because the recruiting slowed down. We still have the deal breaker.
Close second in the lead for this.
For a playoff team. If not, we might be in a little bit of trouble because
he's locked out here, but he's still in second.
Recruiting slowed down. We still have the deal breaker.
For this other 5-star outside linebacker in the lead, also beating schools, Alabama, Miami.
There, of course.
Okay, then he's out on this.
I just said we got locked out of him. But we're also at a weird point where I don't think this guy helps us as much. Because even though I wanted him, he is 97 speed. He's going to be lower overall, at least compared to some of these other younger wide receivers. So we really just need some good development. It's also nice we bounced back from the loss against Oregon with a win against Northwestern, even if it was only by 8 points. And currently on my board, I'm only going after 7 players. So I probably need to find some more talent because that's not enough. It didn't really take me too long to find some more 4-stars just for us to pursue. Most of them are gyms as well. So we're still going to be bringing in guys, but I want to beat Maryland. And we probably did if we just signed this 5-star. It was a good week. We brought in 4 different prospects. And if our championship contenders in A+, you can see up there, we're 5-1. Our wide receivers continue to have amazing performances. And right now we're 5-1, about to play 4-3 Michigan, who's still ranked number 7 and in the conference standing.
Stanford ranked 4? Stanford ranked 4, 8-0. Wow. Okay, that's cool.
About to play 4-3 Michigan, who's still ranked number 7, and in the conference standings, it looks like we are just in 3rd place. If we want to make the conference championship, we have to win this game of the week, and the big house is fully packed out. If we could just continue to keep up, we have to win this game of the week. And the big
Wolverines, that's cool.
Big house is fully packed out. If we could just continue to keep up with them, I would be happy with that. We're both scoring touchdowns. So this has been an interesting start to the game so far. And on 3rd and 9, we have a chance to get them off of the field, but they're going to have somebody open on that side of it. I'm hoping this time around we can play a little bit better defense. We're going to get the interception with Armstrong, and there we go. Even though we're playing well, though, you can see all the routes are very shaky. We are in the toughest place to play on this Dynasty file, and on 3rd down, we're not getting this. So I feel like we need to go for this 4th and 1, and I'm just going to pitch it. Surely we can get it out in time, and look at that. Dante is going to take us to the 8. We are battling for our lives right now, but I just want to beat Michigan. And now that I've figured out how to do the Heisman celebration, I've been doing that all the time too. To end this first half, we've gotten the ball back for a 2-minute drill, so that's where we just have to be effective. And I do like a good halfback toss every so often, even though time is not really on our side. The last thing I want to do is get stopped and then give Michigan a chance to get points. So as we've worked it down the field, you can see the stadium pulse has died down, and we've taken a lot of clock with us. I mean, they would be the next team to score, but I feel like we're in pretty good control of this game. All we have to do is get at least a field goal on this one. And even though everything's changing a bunch, it's all crazy, I want to try out this RPO where we got some good blocks, and Coleman has one guy to get through.
Don't tell me the RPO cheese again like in Madden.
I want to try out this RPO where we got some good blocks, and Coleman has one guy to get through. Going into the 3rd quarter, we're going to have a massive 3rd and 3 coming up. And if they're sending a blitz, I have some instant reads to make where the running back is going to get picked up. And if they're sending a blitz, I have some instant reads to make where the running back is going to get picked off. I don't know why I threw that. It wasn't even open. It was such a dumb decision. And now we have to catch this guy, or it's going to be 28. What was I thinking? Things are not looking good, and they have us sending a lot of pressure. So one of the most crucial matchups of the year is going to be tied with a few minutes left, assuming they are about to get into the end zone. My honest of the year is going to be tied.
Whoa, I hate that.
With a few minutes.
Get upfield. What are we doing? AI? Oh, come on.
Sure. So one of the most crucial matchups of the year is going to be tied with a few.
There's no way you don't score here, man. Get upfield.
2 minutes left, assuming they are about to get into the end zone. I honestly thought that they were about to walk that one in, but they didn't, and now they do. I have to do everything in my power for this to be the final drive of the game, and there's no way that we should kick a 56-yard field goal. I'm gonna miss that every time, so we have to go for it, and we have our wide receiver open over there, which means we're now at the 2-minute warning, and we're gonna keep running through the clock. Flags are gonna bring it back, though, 10 yards. And I ended up having to call a timeout because with the stadium being this loud, toughness rank 1, I almost got a delay game, and now we just have to get a huge jet sweep play or jet touch pass. I don't know what I'm gonna do here on 2nd down, but I might just try to escape the pocket if they're going with man-to-man coverage. Dylan needs to make sure he slides. And I love how smart the computer is in this new game. They're taking timeouts right now. They're trying to give themselves a chance to get the ball back, but they're not going to. And even if they do somehow hold us, they're only gonna have 15 seconds. That 1st down does it, though. We are gonna kick the game-winning field goal. And look at how much that arrow is shaking. Can you imagine if this was like from 50 yards out? I mean, it's because of the stadium rank and how tough this is, but I could have very easily missed that. And I'm just thankful that we're sitting at 6-1. We're also still doing well in recruiting, signing this 5-star from Nebraska. And something happened to Ohio State because now they're sitting at 3-4, but I'm sure they're overall still high. Yeah, it's a 90. From here on out, I almost feel comfortable simming most of these games. I think I'm going to sim all the way up until the Iowa one. And if that doesn't go well for us, I will be shocked because we're in a good spot right now. I mean, we've already signed most of the top players on our board. We're still going after some other people, but not that much I care about. And I might really regret this decision in a few weeks, but we are set to sim for multiple ones. So I'm nervous to see the results, but it says I've unlocked the architect, so this is a coach ability. Well, we're sitting at number 5 in the country, 10-1. So I was correct to think that the roster I built was good enough to win all these games. And it looks like the architect thing is one of the skill trees. It's one of the hybrids that mixes between the scheme one and the motivator, and if I have 15 coach points, then I'm able to unlock it. Inside of here, you earn additional XP for certain things, and this just goes position by position. But because I started as Matt Rule, I'm already up to a level 48, and there's a max level of 50 with a coach. If you can't tell, even at the max level of a head coach, you're not able to unlock even half of the stuff that you can. So that's why what you choose is so important, and I'm going to make sure that our wide receivers start off hot in the 4th quarter. I am a little surprised to see that we've been dropping down the rankings just by winning games, but I guess that's how things work out, and I have to play this rivalry at least once. Seeing how well the year has gone for us so far, there's a chance that we win it all. I do see the checkerboard pattern in the stadium, and there's the Children's Hospital up there in the background. I'm waiting to see the infamous wait. I think we have to wait until the end of the quarter, though, and playing on the road in this game is just miserable. Even with Iowa having the 22nd toughest place to play, things are shaking. But even with that in mind, after that drop, we've still been able to move it down the field. And my mistake there stalled out this drive, but look at the score with 2 minutes left in the half. It's 3-0. Their defense has been insane. Their offense hasn't done anything, and this could be my best kick ever. Please tell me that is in. And that felt so rewarding. That was super difficult. I just can't believe how realistic this game is. It's been an entire half, and Iowa has only scored 3 points. That is a laser. So our drive to try and take a lead before halftime continues, and I knew that we were going to burn that man-to-man coverage. I gotta say, the fact that I can celebrate in all these games now is awesome, because that was not a thing in NCAA football 14, and after turning the ball over to start this 2nd half, we're in a golden position to go up 17-3 against our rivals, and all we had to do was snap the ball right there. I feel like Dante Dodal should be doing the Heisman pose right here. He's had an incredible season, but the Hawkeyes would finally score a touchdown. I know, I can't believe it either, and that means we have to score again. It took me a few years, but I have a touchdown. I know.
Whoa, EA.
Doing the Heisman pose right here. He's had an incredible season, but the Hawkeyes would
quarterback is number 15.
Finally score a touchdown. I know. I can't
the ball,
believe it either.
Come on, man, that's a flag. Can't do that.
That means we have to score again. It took me a few years, but I have found some plays that I really enjoy on this game so far, especially these jet touch passes. We're getting into the end zone, and that had to be one of the filthiest spin moves I have ever seen. It looks like to start this 4th quarter, they're going for it on 4th down, because at this point in the game, they're losing, and I was all over that area. But that would lead to a touchdown, and then they stopped us, and we're going to miss here, so all of a sudden we're losing. Why did our player just fall over? I hit the wrong button. And with the Stadium Pulse Max maxed out. They have the crowd fully packed out here too. I am a little bit worried. I'm just going to go over to the flat if they're going to leave it open. But Kinnick Stadium is currently rocking, and with this halfback pitch, Dante Dowdle's going to get like 5 or 6. I'm going to keep going back to him because he's been so good. And with 2 minutes left, we still have plenty of time to get down the field on the ground. I think we do need to start passing at some point, though. I'm about to take a sack too, which means it is 3rd and 17. They're getting in pressure, and I can't escape the pocket. That defense just clamped us up. I did get a really good punt, though, so I will take that, assuming we get a good bounce, and please tell me that we're just going to continue to pin them back. I also want to get a hit stick on him, and with 3 timeouts left, you know that we have to try to just fill these holes. There is so much on the line. There's no reason that we should lose to Iowa. We're going to make the tackle, and it's my fault for blowing it here in this 4th quarter, but we're going to get the ball back. All I can say is I am thoroughly enjoying the gameplay. It is my favorite part of EA Sports College Football 25 by far, and what I'm about to do might be the worst play call in this situation, but we're running the flea flicker.
That play is
he is
some
open,
cheese.
and he's got by the defense. We completely fooled them. We just
Correct.
scored with less than 30 seconds left on the clock over our rivals in their stadium. It is so quiet in there, and I cannot believe that that actually worked. We're still going to have to rely on our defense for another 30 seconds to secure this, though. And here we go. On 1st and 10, I can't let them throw it over the middle. We have to make this tackle, but they seem to already be having success, which is a little worrisome, and please tackle them inbounds. 2nd and 4 now. I'm going to stick with this wide receiver, and they missed the throw, but I'm just kind of embarrassed at the fact that we let Iowa score this many points against us. 28's a lot for them. Zone has not been working, though, so we've gone with man-to-man coverage, and with 11 seconds left, they're really handing it off. I guess they trust their unit to hit this field goal, and it's down the middle, but we still have enough time to get off one more throw, so we're just going to put up a prayer versus this DB, and that's overtime. I cannot believe that I let them get in the field goal range, but at least we're here. We also had to put together a drive in 37 seconds, and I just don't want overtime to go on for long enough to where we're trading 2-point conversions. That was not an open pass, but it still worked, and I'm going to try to scramble with Dylan here. He has the speed to take it all the way to the 1, and this is Dante's chance to just punch it in for us right here. The defensive stop's going to be the challenging part, though, and here on 1st and 10, after getting inside the 10-yard line, we almost sacked him. I am running straight cover 3 and just hoping our zones do their job, but I also have to act like we're showing blitz every so often, and don't tell me that he actually got out of there. How are we in an offensive shootout versus Iowa? That doesn't even make sense. And look at this. They're going for the 2-point conversion where we are going to stop them short. I can't remember in the second overtime in college football now if you have to go for it there or not, but I'm going to take it. The spin move frees us, and we are almost in. The stadium pulses through the roof, but it will not matter. And I can't believe I forgot the rules. You have to go for the 2-point conversion in second overtime. I'm going to go with my favorite play, these jet touch passes. Hopefully we can override this left side of the field, and there's no one over there. It's game. That was such a shootout, but at least we got the win over our rivals. And Dante won player of the game, but pretty much everybody performed well besides our defense. I mean, Dylan Raiola never turned it over, so I can't complain about this stat line. And that's by far the best game that I've had so far. I think it's safe to say that hiring James Tucker was an amazing move. And what a journey this has been for Nebraska so far.
Cool. I love you able to see that progression right
hiring
there.
James Tucker was an amazing move. And what a
love to see that
journey this has been for Nebraska so far, but we still have a lot more work to do. As you can see, the Big Ten Conference Championship trophy was right there. And this isn't the first time we've played at Lucas Oil Stadium in this video. Through just a few minutes of football, both teams have already scored a touchdown, but that inaccurate throw means they want us to attempt a 59-yard field goal, and this would be the farthest kick I've ever made. Please tell me I put enough on it. I'm starting to get a lot better with the kicking meter, but not enough to where I wouldn't go for it on 4th and inches. I really regret not pulling out this jet touch pass right there. I feel like we would have had an instant touchdown. We might even this time because Lloyd's so quick with his moves. And we have a chance to get off to a 17-7 lead right here, but Dylan's going to take the sack. Now on 2nd and goal, it looks like that man-to-man coverage stuck nicely. So I just managed to lose a ton of yards, and we're going for the end zone anyway. Even if it didn't look open, I'm starting to figure out the things that I'm able to throw. And the longer that this game goes on for, the better it's looking for us. As the end of the 3rd quarter approaches, I'm going to kick this field goal to make it a 16.1. And if we could just hold them on this 4th and 10, we would have sealed the game. But Caden Saunders got a great release, and they did not get the 2-pointer. A 2-possession lead's fine, assuming they don't hold us to a 3-and-out. And that led to another touchdown, so we're in trouble. I think I have to go back to what I know will work, and it's these jet touch passes, assuming that Lloyd breaks free. That spin move was filthy, and he is fast. I'm also pretty sure if they're going to press us like this, we'll have an easy touchdown over the top, but I think we put too much on it. And getting Coleman to come back for another season was massive. The game ends right here if we can stop them, but we of course are going to miss a tackle. And now we have another opportunity to win this Big Ten championship, but it went through my hands. I mean, this drive took them so long, I'm not worried, but we had to recover the onside kick to make sure we won. And Dylan Raiola had an amazing performance. Now we get to celebrate with a conference championship trophy. It looks great. And we're starting to get somewhere with this Nebraska rebuild. We've been able to recruit some fantastic players, but we were never able to get a Heisman Trophy winner. We did win the award for the best wide receiver though, and it looks like we also had the best wide receiver with
trophy those stats at Arcus
winner. We did win.
That's concerning. Not even a 1,000-yard receiver. Last year, Malik Neighbors had what 1,600 receiving yards. The guy from Washington had like 1,700. Damn, this guy, wow.
The award for the best wide receiver though, and it looks like we also had the best DB in the country. I'm pretty sure I recruited that player. I'm a little surprised that Penn State is still ranked higher than us, but I don't really care because we're a conference champion and there's a chance that we're gonna have to play them again. During this first round bye, it's also National Signing Day where we only brought in these 11 players. But if we don't win it all this year, those players are gonna replace the seniors
recruiting class
that we would lose, and we could still build our team through the portal too. But look at these stats from Dylan. He had his best season yet, and so did Dante Dodal. So that new addition at offensive coordinator made all of the difference. The playbook change also worked. We almost had 2,000-yard wide receivers, 3 wide receivers with double-digit touchdowns.
So he won best receiver of the year when his teammate had better stats in every single category except for yards at the catch. More yards, more receptions, more average, more touchdowns. But Coleman won receiver of the year. Interesting.
Touchdowns. And going into the playoffs, we are dealing with a few injuries, but nothing too major that we can't handle. The biggest loss would be this right tackle, but I'm hoping he can be healthy next week because it's just a broken hand. And Penn State must have lost if we're playing Louisville next. Thank goodness. I didn't want to have to face the Nittany Lions again. Tulane also won their game. And as a Kentucky fan, there's no way that I'm going to lose to Louisville. They were actually set to be this first rebuild, but you all voted them out on Twitter. So I went with Nebraska, but I think I'm going to drop another one tomorrow with a much smaller school, so you have both. Now we just have to open up this game the right way, and I have no respect for Louisville. I'm throwing up the deepest pass that I can off the gates, and look at that. We are going to destroy the Cardinals. We're not losing to them. It is time for us to win. Or at least I thought. They scored pretty quickly, and now they're going to knock it out. Luckily for us, though, there is a flag on the play, and I'm shocked along with our fans that it's against us. Well, if it's 3rd and 18, the chances of this going the right way are not right. I shouldn't have put the ball there, though. They're going to get the interception, and Louisville would then drive down the field to score again, so we really need to end this first half with a touchdown. I think Lloyd could be up the seam if I can throw it quickly, and I was able to. But what'll really matter is how this next drive goes, and I see that we have a wide open wide receiver. This is Bruce. We recruited him, and he gets us to midfield. I'm starting to get a better hang for how you pass and just get big gains in this game, and you have to keep in mind that this is much different than NCAA Football 14 was. Like, this throw is not going to go the right way. But anyway, this plays much different than the game that I've been used to playing for all of these years, and I never really touched Madden 24. I wish I did though now, because I'm terrible at this game. After that turnover, they'd get a touchdown, and knocking that ball out makes this 4th and 6. I am confident to attempt this field goal though, and that's perfect. Luckily for us, after getting them to a 4th and 2, they did decide to punt it. So now we have the ball back again, and how did he get in so quick? Every so often, there's just stuff on it. So now we have the ball back again, and
they didn't block anyone on the left side. Just let them right
luckily for us, after getting them to a 4th and 2, they did decide to punt it. So now we have the ball back again, and how did he get in
74 don't
so quick? Every so often, there's just stuff that happens out of your control. We're also going to get a penalty here, so this is coming back, and it's holding against us. It is literally 2nd and 25, and they're about to get another sack, so I'm going to against us. It is literally 2nd and 25.
You hate to see this. 77
here, so this is coming back, and it's holding against us. It is literally 2nd and 25.
Engaging, man. You supposed to be. He's supposed to get into your pass pro, man.
Here, so this is coming back, and it's holding against us. It is literally
like a run block, but he should be stepping back, not moving forward.
2nd and 25, and they're about to get another sack. So I'm going to go ahead and max protect. I just learned that that was a thing, and I'm throwing up a 50-50 ball over on that left side of the field. I think we might actually have Coleman. He's able to come under the football.
Okay.
And what a throw that was. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that we just pulled off a
smooth.
3rd and 35. That's one of the best plays I've ever had. And come on, we've got to get them off the field on this 3rd and 6. They went with the draw and it worked perfection. I can't even make the tackle. They're gone to the crib and they have the lead again. I can't believe that I thought we were going to come out in this game and dominate. And instead, it's just been us struggling. But I know we have that 99 speed wide receiver over there, so I'm just going to hope for the best again, and it barely worked. I'm on All-American too, so it's the 2nd hardest difficulty. And now with this jet touch pass, all we needed was that block. We're going to go down in the end zone. But none of that matters if they pick up this 3rd and 15, and that is good D. I've literally just been running a bunch of jet touch passes down the field. I mean, they work so well when you have fast wide receivers, and I almost celebrated too early. I'm having a blast with them. They are so much fun, but I think defense is just difficult because I couldn't stop them again. They were able to score, so we have to run out the rest of this clock. I think now would probably be the perfect time for a jet sweep since everybody's in right there, and you know that Lloyd has the jets on him, so he's able to get around a bunch. And the field is so wide in college, it's hard to stop that lateral movement. I think that's why all of this stuff works so well. It might be a little bit different in online games on this game, but all I'm worried about right now is moving on to the semifinals, and this first down does it. We are just 2 games away from winning it all now, and our quarterback's the only reason that I even wanted to choose Nebraska for this first rebuild. He's gotten the Cornhuskers their first playoff win ever, and I have to make sure that I throw out more balls to Malachi Coleman. Next up on our schedule is Kansas State, and they're an 85 overall, so they're a bit tougher than the Cardinals, but if we can beat them, we'd end up playing either Georgia or Baylor in the national championship. Before we play the Wildcats, though, I looked at our wide receiver speed, and it's no wonder that we're able to beat teams over the top, and you best believe that I'm going to try to do it again. So far, our offense has played pretty well, which is a little unusual, but I think I'm just getting more comfortable, and as we pick up another first down, we're getting closer to 21 points already. I really struggle once I get down inside this 10-yard line, though. I'm going to lose yards, and that corner route just doesn't feel crisp enough to get open. I feel like they're going to get pressure in, so we're going to run with Dylan, but he doesn't go far. It's all good. We're still taking a 2-possession lead here, but that would be erased so quickly, and with 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, we're finally taking our lead back. The issue is there was holding on that jet touch pass, so now it's 3rd and 5. They're sending in a blitz, and they actually stuck with that jet touch pass. So now it's
circle. What is this cornerback doing? But circle is wide open.
3rd and 5. You
can't even see. Why did you throw this? You couldn't even see him on your screen, Brax.
Taking our lead back. The issue is there was holding on that jet touch pass. So now it's 3rd and 5. They're sending in a blitz, and they actually stuck with Coleman. I thought that would be a free touchdown, and he'd just break the press. Now we have to track down number 9 and then figure out a way to get Kansas State off of the field. The play action worked straight to us, though. Armstrong gets the interception. We have it right back, and he is gone to the crib. That is an amazing turnaround for us. Dalvin Armstrong just changed everything. And here on 3rd and 12, they just went with a halfback screen, and we are going to be all over it. Getting the ball back with 4 minutes left is always a very good sign that you're going to win. But I think the most interesting thing is they brought their defense down to press us, so I had to try to go deep, and what was I thinking? That's it. We're going back to using our speed ladder. I had to try to go deep, and what was I thinking? That's it. We're going back to using our speed laterally across the field, hoping that we pick up the blockers and we can run out some clock here. That spin move was filthy, and Doss might just be gone. We have to beat one more guy, though, and 91's going to maybe track us down, or maybe not. What a filthy touchdown run from our wide receiver. I love the jet touch pass. And those Kansas State fans can't believe what they just witnessed. Well, this is the game. It's 4th and 2. We're kind of stacking the box, and they just go with the handoff. I feel like we filled up the hole pretty well, but that would still eventually lead to a score because we couldn't get them off of the field, which means we still have to run out the final 2 minutes, and it looks like Dante Dodal has nowhere to go. Well, there's one player I trust in this situation, and their defense committed to it so well that I've decided to go for it on 4th and 9 if they're going to run press man-to-man coverage, and I'm so stupid. We're going to have to play another season because I just made a stupid mistake, but they throw another interception to Armstrong, and that's going to do it. As long as we don't fumble, this game is over, and Dylan just needs to slide. But I almost had a heart attack. I don't know how to slide properly. I really just want to get into victory formation. That is going to do it. And even if it was a bit unorthodox, we're headed to the championship. The real question was who it was going to be against, though, and it's undefeated Georgia. So we're in for a challenge, but I'm just glad that we made it this far. It looks like they beat number 10 Louisville, who we also had a tough game against, and of course they had some other tough SEC opponents too. But we're the same overall, so we do have a chance. And this is my first time seeing all of the stuff they have in this national championship presentation. presentation. I'm excited. I want to see what is different out there. And it looks like they have the updated patches on the jerseys. They say 2027 on them, which is really nice. It's small details like that I wasn't sure that they would nail because they're just little things you wouldn't notice, but everything looks pretty good and it's time for this game. Well, we've gotten them to an early 3rd and 7, which is normally a good thing as they drop the ball, but I was afraid that they were going to pick it up. I don't seem to be able to get many stops on defense in this rebuild, and we almost have a chance at breaking free to this right side. I saw it, and please tell me he can outrun number 10. I don't think we're going to go all the way, but that's still a great start to this national championship. And did you all see that presentation? It all just looks really good. I like the impact players too, and if there's one thing that's been a staple of this Nebraska offense, it has been these jet sweeps, and to start off our first offensive drive, we have a touchdown. It is not time to play around. We have to win this game. We can't lose now, and we've recovered a fumble here, so we had a good chance to get more points, but it's only going to be a field goal assuming we drill it because that halfback screen did not work out, and I think that's enough power. Well, if Georgia keeps turning it over, this is not going to be a good game for very long. I'm going to try to run with Dylan here, but that could have been a mistake because now it's 3rd and goal, and what a bad pass. I'm going to go for it just because I like to play things aggressively, but that might be a very stupid decision. We have to make it all the way. And how have we opened up the championship so well? The Bulldogs have already fumbled it away twice, and you know that we have everyone down here just in case they handed it off, but they passed it instead, and number 2 is gone to the crib. I should have known better there. As long as we keep having success offensively, though, we will be fine. And I've already been aggressive once. I have no issues being aggressive again. This would be a very different game if some of those didn't go our way. They're also blown up the jet pass. So it's pretty obvious that the defense is able to adapt throughout a game, and it feels like it's been quick, but the first quarter's already gone. I really like that one of those 2 wide receivers should be open over there, and they're pressing our fastest one. I mean, what are you doing? We would have had a touchdown if that wasn't a bad throw, but we've gotten them to a 3rd and 18, so they were never going to pick this up. And here on 3rd and 7, I'm going to throw it straight to them. I don't understand how the corner routes run on this game still. It's throwing me off. I'm going to try something a little different on the next drive, but as long as they only get a field goal, that's not going to be too devastating. And there's no way that they're attempting this 57-yarder. I guess their kicker's really good, but it's wide left. Anyway, what I wanted to try was this custom route stem where I can make these corner routes run a little bit more direct, and I want to see if that is a little bit better with the route running, and look at that throw. We're still getting a lot of inaccurate balls, even though our quarterback's amazing, but that's because that's almost an impossible pass to make consistently, and I feel like EA has done a really good job at replicating the college level at least. Here on 3rd and 10, I am going to wait until the zig route gets open and then take it for the first, but I do not enjoy throwing the ball because I'm not that good at it. I wanted to run, and I'm putting so much emphasis on this drive right here because I feel like this is where we could end up sealing things, and instead I've thrown my second interception. I'm going to need so many tips in the comments on how to be good. I mean, he was blanketed, but I was used to being able to force that stuff anyway on NCAA Football 14, and I had to take a timeout so we could get the ball back again. If you think I'm going to do anything else than try to just bomb them deep, you would be incorrect, but they had good coverage.
Out of everything, I think this one pissed me off the most. This is like a scramble first high school quarterback. Your receiver wide open.
Then try to just bomb them deep, you would be incorrect, but they had good coverage. So I'm just waiting for that outside corner to be the back safety in like a cover 3 or something, and if not, I'll step up in the pocket like this, and what is that? I'm trying to slide, but he's just jumping in the air instead. It's because I'm hitting the wrong button of some sort, and we actually caught it. There is no reason I should have gotten away with that one. I cannot believe it, and the slant did get open last second, but I was looking to run from the start. So we need to start getting some bigger gains, and that's what I was hoping would happen on the last drive when I threw a pick. You all have now seen why I've struggled so much on offense, but we get in. And ever since that moment, we have controlled this entire game. With just a few minutes left, kicking this field goal puts us up by 24. And we should be fine as long as we recover this onside kick, which we do, and we might even have a chance to return it if I try. Before this video ends, I think I want to run just one more jet touch pass. I've had a blast using them, and we need to get out. That was bad, but now I have a chance to make a 62-yard field goal. This would be my longest one yet, and look at that. I actually made it from that far out, and we need to thank our kicker for getting us this national championship. He was incredible. Now we're seeing the celebration for the very first time, and I've completed my first rebuild in college football 25. 44-32 over undefeated Georgia is impressive, and this is Nebraska fan dreams with Dylan Raiola. I was able to do it, so they can enjoy this moment, but next is going to be a much smaller school. We're not going to have a 5-star like him to start out with, and I'm going to enjoy this moment knowing that the next time it's it's gonna take me a lot longer. That was such a fun run though. All of the games were super good, and I still thought it would take us 4 or 5 years to win it all with the Cornhuskers. Just looking at all this NFL talent, I'm very impressed with what we did, but there's a chance that Dylan would come back for another year. So I convinced him to, and a lot better transfers want to come to our school now. Normally I'd end a video right here, but I'm curious how all these players that I've recruited do now that they've cleared the 90 overall threshold. And because it's a new game, everything that happens is so excited. We're supposed to be the best team in the country. Plus, we probably have the best quarterback in the country, so I would expect him to be in the Heisman race, and he's projected to finish second. Cool. I'm literally just going to sim the entire season to be in the Heisman.
That's interesting. That's cool.
Heisman race, and he's projected to finish second. I'm literally just going to sim the entire season. It's not like I'm playing anything, but we have to see how it played out, and Jacksonville State's wide receiver won the Heisman. Dylan Raiola would take home this award though, and we've made the college football playoffs as a 5 seed. Just looking at our schedule, USC already beat us once by 22, and then we lost to Washington in the Big Ten Conference Championship, so that's how we got a playoff bracket that looks like this. And statistically, just turnover wise, these numbers are way better than what he had last year. Without Dante Dodo though, we didn't run the ball too well, so of course our receivers had to be better, and I hope that I find out that we ended up winning the entire college football playoff. Well, that didn't happen. Kansas State got their revenge on us in the semifinal again and then won the whole title. That's fine though. I got to experience what's probably the best quarterback I'm going to get to use over the next few months, and I'm surprised he didn't go to the NFL, but these career stats were just super impressive. Of course, that means that
last season, 52 touchdowns, 3 picks. Wow, what a season.
Didn't go to the NFL, but these career stats were just super impressive. Of course, that means that he had to be a first-round draft pick, and that concludes my first rebuild on College Football 25, but if you want me to drop another one tomorrow with a smaller school, make sure to smash that like button, and I will do it.
Man, shout out to Borax, man. Shout out to Borax, man. If y'all like this style of content, if y'all like this breakdown, make sure to subscribe, man. If y'all made it all the way to the end of the video, let me know in the comments, man. But I appreciate y'all for watching. On to the next one.